Onoshiorena Obozeghie. Welcome to the last working day of the week for some persons. Well, the Nigerian military says that the battle line, they are waiting there, and that is for ex-militant leader Asari Dokubo on the battlefield to witness the capabilities of the army. Well, that's in reaction to Dokubo's claim that he could shoot down a military helicopter hovering around his residence the same way he does to others, and he says that is known to the government. So we would take both videos back to back in the order that they happened, just in case you missed out on the first one.
Weekends, soldiers, weekends, police, whoever had been flying over my house and my compound in the last 30 minutes with 2 helicopter gunships. I have the capacity to contain them. Nigeria cannot surrender to Wike. Rivers people will not surrender to Wike. And the government knows that I have the capacity to contain them, as I've been containing other people.
Comments by some individual that they can shoot down the helicopter of the military. I think that's laughable. In fact, I'm about to laugh about that. We cannot just based on somebody's comments begin to do certain things and then they will now accuse the military of being undemocratic. He doesn't have that capability. He's just blabbing. But I will allow the security forces that are responsible for handling such cases to take up the matter. Ours is come on the battlefield and we take you out. You should come on the battlefield and see whether we can react or not.
Okay, so the battle line is drawn. So let's see some reactions to this development on X, because it was a long day. Olamilekon says, imagine a whole army trading words with a bloody civilian like Asari Dokubo. Nigerian Army is now the shadow of itself. In more thought, Somto Okonkwo says, so the Nigerian Army can't take the fight to him, or is the military scared? Someone threatened to shoot down military helicopters with soldiers in it, and you are telling him to come to the battlefield. If he's to kill innocent civilians and burn down villages, the military would hesitate to do so and would be at the forefront. And he says, shaking my head. Also, this user says, this is unfortunate and totally uncalled for. How can the headquarters of Nigerian Army be engaging in I dare you kind of conversation with a non-state actor? Are they acknowledging subtly that Asari Dokubo can actually engage the Nigerian Army? This tweet is utterly repugnant. Oh, you were right there. But let's go away from that to have more stories. Many questions. Is it a phrase, an acronym? I mean, T-Pain, it's gaining momentum on the space of social media with more and big names making use of it. Well, if Nigeria's former Vice President Atiku Abubakar says on X that the policies of T-Pain are causing us unbearable hardship, maybe it's safe to say that T-Pain is either the name of a person, animal, place, or things, as we were taught in school. Well, he says on the space of social media yesterday, let's see his thought right there. He says the haphazard and disingenuous approach of the current administration of fuel subsidy management has been the reason we are in this current economic crisis in the country. As things stands, he says, there will be no let-up in escalating inflation rate, which is drowning the material well-being of Nigerians. It is even more worrying that T-Pain is undisturbed by the hardship in the country, and he personally signed it. So if you go to big names social media accounts, they will tell you that tweets from them or posts from them are signed with their initials. So if he says AA Atiku Abubakar, it means that he definitely sent that himself. Now, Uche Rocha says it is officially approved to go by the name T-Pain. We are taking it up from there, sir. And he says T-Pain. It was trending all day. A+A says T-Pain has gone 7 months or 35.41% of his tenure and not done a single structured media interview at home or abroad. He says in that time, he's managed to increase inflation by 33%, ballooned the national debt by over 20%, wiped off 75% of Nigeria's value, and shrank the GDP by over 50%. In another reaction, Fresh says, as Atiku just confirmed the T-Pain name, watch out how Bayo Onanuga and his APC minions would do to the name. Something like T for trustworthy, P for prosperity, A for authority, I for integrity, N for nationalist. I mean, going back to classroom. And it says, who wants to bet? Well, people are not betting, I'm not sure, or at least I didn't see that. But let's see. Then for Adebisi, it says A pain. So if we're having A and T pain in the conversations between Tinubu and Atiku, it means that someone will just pick the first alphabet of your name and just say pain or sweet. So he's responding to Atiku and it says A pain. We remember your administration as well. Where is NITEL? Where is Nigeria Airways? Under your administration, refineries stopped working. Which major road was constructed under you? So you have to come for somebody, just get their names and put pain in front of it right there. Now, we may just have officials of the Federal Road Safety Corps, FRSC, officially bearing guns in no time. This is because the House of Representatives has passed through second reading a bill that is seeking to create a special armed squad for FRSC, which, if passed into law, will enable them possess arms. Well, the aim, as we are told, is to aid the operations of the Corps first, and then the bill will also see to empower the Corps with sole responsibility for road traffic administration and safety management, preventing and minimizing road traffic crashes on public roads, supervision of users of such public roads, and then regulation of traffic. Just to mention that the bill is sponsored by two lawmakers, Abiodun Adesida and Olaide Latif Mohammed. Let's go to social media to bring in your point at this point. So this user, Somtoeze, says, for what exactly? If your car papers have expired, you will collect one bullet. If you don't have fire extinguisher, another bullet. I really don't understand. In more thoughts and reactions on Instagram too, Mazi says, Lord, una won't make we begin the fear una. Now, una and unknown gunmen go the iron arm out for road. Una think say una they do us. The joke is on you guys. And then call me Dodo. He says another beast has just been released. They are tough people, even without gun. Now with guns, what would they become? And he says we shall see. And final thought to this one is coming from Blessing, who says I think it's a good one because motorists do not respect them. In fact, we don't respect men in uniform without gun. Even policeman without gun, he says, in no get level. But let's move on and have our final story for today, which would be that the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, is trending because the agency on Thursday dumped its initial rule that married women would be required to provide a letter of approval from their husbands for a visa clearance certificate. While this followed a backlash from the space of social media by netizens. So they had said visa clearance. They wrote a long list right here. I'm not sure you would see this. I'm not expecting you to see this either. So let's expand our focus in the next slide. So it says NDLEA Visa Clearance Guide, Step 2C. If you are married women should bring letter of approval to travel from their husband attached with his passport photograph. So here, this was it. Let's see. Soon, because of the backlash, people would say, this came out to say, oh, it has been jettisoned as a non-mandatory item on the list. And it says the inclusion of that item ab initio rose following some ugly development in some SARS countries. And that was signed by Femi Babafemi, the Director of Media and Advocacy for NDLEA right there. Let's bring you in. This user, he says NDLEA requiring married women to get their husband's approval for a visa is a gross overreach by the government and a blatant attempt to infantilize women. He says, what about women whose husbands are idiots? And what about unmarried women? This archaic policy undermines women's autonomy and is an insult to their rights as full-grown adults. Yeah, this was before it was retrieved. Let's bring you more thoughts and and development. For Annie, he says, what it concern NDLEA and immigration matter. Now, married women, they smuggle drugs or waiting. I just want to understand how this one take enter their jurisdiction. Now, so police go stop person for road, they ask for spare tire as if they be road safety. Sharing of duty. Original Jombes, it says, does deleting it mean you will not subtly enforce it on women at the point of travel? Do you think you have earned our trust? Questions there. For Mickey, it says, left to me, this law will stand, not just for women, also for men. If you are leaving a spouse behind, bring a letter of consent from them. No run, leave family here to suffer. And he says, cheese. Yeah, well, he says cheese.